All right. Welcome everybody back to some Memorial Village Musings. I like that. I might actually change the name to that. We'll see. So if you're just tuning in, as they used to say, this is my realm that I make with my kiddos, and I mean they don't really play much in it anymore. They've moved on to like other games, and that's fine. It'll be here if and when they ever come back. I mean, well, when they come back, they'll play it eventually. I mean, even my daughter is more into like Bed Wars and stuff if she does do Minecraft. So, and she's really into some other stuff, which, I mean, yeah. So, and my son, gun games. Oh, my boyo. I'm proud of him. Even if he didn't, even if he liked easy bake oven games and like, animal games and like more like sensitive and calm. I mean, that's why I love this. Like it does have like, I mean, you can actually bake in this game. Like, that might have sounded a little derogatory and like, I don't know, gender specific, but like all that, it's Minecraft. It's just peaceful. It's a village. It's all of humanity. And even, like, honestly, some of those villagers look like women in this one. I mean, not super womanly as they all have the same, but that's just like, you know, you could get texture packs to make women and stuff, but like, even the city texture, I feel like there's a couple that have long hair, a couple that might be in between. Like, it doesn't matter. But anyways, back to this exciting stuff. And so, first off, I started building Max's house, I believe. And that one was one of the more recent ones too. And that one hit pretty hard because well, he was a dad, first of all. I never met his kids, but, like we had kids at about the same time. We were messing up at about the same time, but we were also figuring life out at the same time. And we were going to the gym. We were gym buddies. And, we both loved Blizzard games. He actually lived with a dude that worked for Blizzard, so that was cool. So he got to talk to him about it. Um, Dude had some issues too, but like, that's just a fact of intelligence. Like, the curious mind is possibly going to go have some experiences with substances. So, well, first off, let's talk about that. So, interesting updates on the X app. I'm talking on the White House's post on the X app, and that's what I love about this. Like, they're reading all this stuff. They're seeing it. They're learning. And like, I mean, they're probably judging too. Like, I might have like a SWAT team on the ready by my house, but thankfully the people that know me locally would be like, nah, that's Alex. You just gotta, he's a little weird. So, but he's got a good heart and he doesn't do bad things. So, and that's true. I've never like, well, I can't say never, but like as far as stealing from people, like it's been very minor and like I felt really horrible and I confessed too. Like one time I stole a cannabis pipe from a lady and it was so stupid and it was back when I was drinking a lot and that's no excuse, but what it was like I wanted to go there to get some action. Like I wanted to get some affection and all that and like, I figured like that's what you go to this person for. Like oh, whoops. I mean, I lived my life by like figuring out like labeling people, but respectfully. Like, I wouldn't ask somebody that isn't an expert or at least like comfortable talking about X, Y, and Z about X, Y, and Z. And if I've, rompused with Lady A, then, I'm gonna try to rompus again. Like it's just like, and people understand it when it's explained a certain way and it's the same behaviors, but then they explain it a different way or look at it through a different perspective. And then all of a sudden, people lose their mind. Ah, I'm doing a Joker moment there, but it's true. And that meme is like one of the best memes out there. It's like, you can do ABC, and then, nobody bats an eye, but you do XYZ, and everybody loses their mind. And, so sorry, I won't start talking about it. I started talking like the Joker a lot after I watched The Dark Knight. That's Heath Ledger was my favorite Joker, and it's so unfortunate that, he passed away. But I don't think there ever will be a better Joker. I mean, I'd like to see it. Like, I know that, and see, I don't even remember. It's not out of disrespect. It's just out of like rate of exposure. I haven't watched the Suicide Squad Joker as much. But I know his face and I do know his name. That's something I would Google. But like Heath Ledger, I learned that because I just really connected with his character. I saw like just this man of mystery that like he didn't really have any morals. He hated like the mafia organizing money, and the mafia was just like another government that was taking advantage of the poor and just doing all these wrongs. So he's like the Batman of the underworld, like trying to keep people. And that's basically the Goodfellas too. Like if you watch the movie The Goodfellas, that's what the whole premise was: is they were the authorities, or they were the law where the law is lawless. And that's the thing is like, unfortunate side effect of prohibition is that you've made what a bunch of people do for their self-medication and their free time and their recreation into a crime, which is ridiculous. And Colorado has always been like a hippy dippy, like you want to go smoke bud, you go on vacation. It's like a mini Jamaica. And like, oh wait, what am I doing? Okay. And I've been to Jamaica, and Jamaica is really like that. Like my buddy and I went, and we were smoking some J's on the patio, and we left a bunch of roaches there because we were gonna, unroll them and smoke whatever was in there, because that's how we were used to it, in black marketplaces in Colorado. Like you got to save your bud. Like you're not gonna throw that out. What? And then we didn't even think about it. Like the wind could have taken them at any time. But we just left them on the patio, and then we came back, and we're like, oh crud, room service was here. And and coming from Buena Vista, it's a prison town, so all of us were raised pretty much like inmates, like like searched constantly, inspected, sniffed, like just checked out, like are they doing this, are they doing that? And it's like, and especially, and like the reason I really wanted to get on and make a video is because I commented something on a post that Redman and Ice Cube did. And in fact, I'll read it here, so we have it documented here. It's pretty wild, like, or wait. Where is it? Oh no. Oh wait, there we go. And I gotta like it. I did like it, okay. Man, growing up, so it's a Method Man and Ice Cube taking a picture, hugging on each other, uniting, laughing together, peaceful. And I said, man, growing up I was so conflicted. I bumped West Side Connection, then Redman, then Wu, then NWA. Aside from the fact I had to keep bleeping myself every N-bomb, I had to clarify I wasn't set tripping or representing. I even bumped Dope House Records until Los Coy caught his Predator cases. Oh, and 3-6 Mafia, yet I was an acolyte in the Salida Methodist Church. Go figure. So happy to see real ones from different communities come together to do good. Peace and love, some of your biggest fans in Central Colorado, the 719CK. Then I did a wizard and a peace sign, and then I did a dash A-Rye. Because, yeah, I loved growing up, or I loved listening to their music growing up. In fact, my first CD was Snoop Dogg, Top Dog, No Limit, of like actual gang stuff. Now, before that, I listened to Will Smith, because that was like the PG version of another culture that I hadn't experienced. And it's not just black culture, it's more like Miami was what he sang about and he rapped about. But a rapper, the rap culture, the hip hop. Because I grew up like listening to country and rock and 80s and like super white culture music, and not, it was still like there was some great artists in the 80s that were different, like non-white, but like it's just that's what, and it's hard not to be whitewashed when most of the stuff comes from white people, because that's the majority of people. So anyways, I feel like that shouldn't have to be explained, but that is kind of like how the perspective is, especially about a bunch of mountain kids whose parents all work at the prison, and all their families and friends. Sorry, I don't think much of it, like touching the microphone, but then I hear the recording later. It's like, So anyways, we got quite a bit of snow. Let's go ahead. It's just a positive for now. And I'm still leaving this to see if it goes full. Like already it's not looking promising because each one does have a piece missing. If you notice, it's every single one. So that tells me that likely, more than likely, there is still a heat coming off of this light that is preventing this from growing to its full potential. So basically that means I just need to move the light up one, I think, and then that's what I think. All right, let's go ahead and drop these off. I do have to work at some point, so this is just, oh, that was just so cool. And I can say stuff like that, like, hey, one of your biggest fans. But like, what are the people up in the mountains doing? Like anybody that got into the war on drugs, sorry, I was joking, on the other side is magically in that world. You listen to the music, you bump it, you play it in your cars. I am a customer of these people, these artists. I have paid for their art many times, but not a lot though. Like CDs were like 15 to 20 bucks and you could play it. And we burned CDs. Like, I mean, we didn't do it out of disrespect for the artists. It was just, we didn't have money, and we did work for money too. I had a job since I was 14. Like the very first year that I could work, I worked at Kay's Dairy Delight up in Buena Vista. And I got that money, and I slanged bud out of that place. It was hilarious. I was like, it was a burger joint, right? And like they had soft serve ice cream, and so that's why when I listen to like Wu Tang's Ice Cream, that one where it's just like talking about all these, I think it's talking about women too, honestly. But like I don't remember. I'd have to listen to it again. But the fact of the matter was is like I was there, selling bud out of those little like sauce cups that they did for ketchup, and I had an afro at some point. That was right before that, and I think I cut it because of work. Like, in fact, maybe I can't ask the people that hired me because I mean, I hate to say it, but I think the other one might be gone. The one, Charlie. In fact, you know what? Let's put a house for Charlie. Oh, okay. Let's do a house for Charlie. And I would have to look it up, but Lois was his wife, and they ran it together. And the K's is actually named after Kay Dieslin, the lady that started K's. And it's a little burger joint, old-fashioned burgers and soft serve ice cream. So it's like kind of like a Dairy Queen, only for the mountains and mom and pop shop. So, and it was awesome. Like Charlie was a dog. He hired all like, I mean, kind of creepy now that I think about it, but he was basically like Trump, looking at the teenagers and all that. And like, and I liked Charlie, and he drank a lot. But like, if he didn't drink, like, and he smoked bud, I'll bet you we'd see a different Charlie. But he did the same things Trump did, partied on yachts with kids. Like, no, I'm kidding. But he did work and watch kids. He never acted on it. He still went home with his wife. But I'll bet you he was thinking about him. And like, he would hire like the hottest cheerleaders and like, the most. And it's kind of messed up. But although at the same time, uh, the people usually doing that were usually more promiscuous anyway. And not to say that the nerds weren't very attractive as well. It's just kind of like humanity. I feel like the popular clubs and the preppy, like it's more like they do more self-inventory and self-reflection to try to better themselves. And so you'll often find them in places like jobs and stuff. But at the same time, that's not fair because everybody works, and that's what I've also experienced is like, and I've gone back and forth like between groups and stuff. I've been preppy, then I've been like, nah, I don't care anymore. And then like, and even that, then it turns into like hipster. And somebody told me like, oh, you drink hipster beer. I was like, nah, I'm white trash. I'm just poor. And I was kind of offended because of what I knew about hipsters, where there were people that were so worried about fitting in that they were like anti-culture. And I'm like, man, I'm just trying to figure out, like, make sure I'm not doing anything wrong. There's so many people telling me all these rules and things to live by. And then I see all these other people breaking them on the daily. And it's like, what gives? Like, why is this? Like, we're just dumb or what? And like, oh no, we're just too busy worried about what other people think. And, it's just. And the best thing I've done for that is just try to act in ways where people won't get mad at you. Try to act and it is kind of like people pleasing, but within reason. Like the assertive balance of people pleasing and self importance and self worth. Yeah. So that said, I got a checkered background. It's easy enough that I can say that, and that's hindered me up in job searching and everything. Like that has like messed with me so much. I can't tell you like how bad that's messed with me. And yet, so I'm going to capitalize on it. That's what this country's all about. Oh, and there's other things. Let me read this thing. This is important. And then we'll get to, I only got like half an hour and then I got to get some work done. But, um, geez, yeah. Hold on. I love this. What should the penalty for crime be? Huh. What if the victim is no longer alive? All right, so this guy I'm talking with, he's got a Charlie Kirk picture, and we started off a little ugly like that, and then I brought up Charlie Kirk. I was like, George Floyd and Charlie Kirk have the same birthday, and that stops people in their tracks. And then I even said, let's read the whole one, the whole thread. So let's start back. The White House, loud and clear. I saved you, cried the woman, and you've bitten me. But why? You knew your bite is poisonous, and now I'm gonna die. Oh, shut up, silly woman, said the reptile with a grin. You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in. The Snake by Oscar Brown Jr. And it shows them arresting a bunch of like criminals and stuff. But the thing is like they're just showing the bad ones on all their films. They don't show the arresting of like moms and kids and like like other people that, and even if the people, a lot of these criminals, they did stuff in the past and already paid for it. So they're just bringing up old stuff. But oh, but it's not okay to bring up that Trump racially profiled people for his rental properties to basically artificially create white neighborhoods and was a huge part of the racial divide problem. Like that should be a crime. Like that's messed up. People get in trouble for stealing something from a store, they pay it back, that should be it. Like this guy screwed over generations of families, of people, of Americans, and we're just gonna just bet, not even bat an eye at that. In fact, there's pushback. So anyway, so I said that. Then where's my, oh shoot, I gotta look at my, all right, so and then I said, until you go on a lie detector and show the world that you've never used illegal narcotics, your word is worth less than spit. MAGA, Trump. And then this guy liked it. He said, remember when they found cocaine and all the times they found marijuana inside the Biden White House? Good times. Remember when President, and then I said, remember when President Trump was illegally distributing narcotics in the White House his first term, including that fentanyl? And then I gave him the Reuters thing, and that talks about how under his first administration, I think it was Ronnie Johnson, the doctor, the alcoholic doctor, or whatever, but like poor judgment and all that, was just giving out meds like candy. But that's the thing. There's a bunch of drug users in the White House using fentanyl. Let me just say that again. There was a bunch of drug users in the White House using fentanyl, yet George Floyd died because he was using fentanyl. Make that make sense. So, anyways, and he's like, fake news. Trump never gave anyone any drugs. Maybe a doctor did, but Trump did not. You are in a cult. You have TDS. Good luck with that, comrade. So calling me communist, already trying to dehumanize me because of differing opinions. Piece of trash. Anyways, maybe try piercing your face, dyeing your hair blue, and standing in front of a cars and screaming and holding a sign. And to which I'm like, want to talk about how he scammed almost $2 million by saying he donated his salary, which he did, and then ran up a bill to make the money back anyway. And then there's a citizensforethics.org, a nonprofit, and he says fake news. But it basically, so that whole story is where they investigated how much the government paid for Secret Service to stay in Trump hotels and Trump resorts. Think about that. I don't think I'd ever be able to afford to go to a Trump resort, nor would I want to at this point. Screw him. Like, you exclusionary piece of trash. Like, no, I go up to the ski resorts where I'm welcome and I put in work and I got free passes. I skied with the owner of the frickin' mountain, bud. Like, you can take your Trump Tower and anyways. So, and that's how I feel about this particular situation. And what does he say? Fake news. It's like, oh, screw me, right? Okay. Hey, you want to send him another golfing trip? Like, let's send him to Camp David. Like doing a Tommy Boy kind of like breakdown. I wonder if he plays for the Yankees. And now Bubba's in the mix, so we got an LGBTQ plus prez, y'all. Anyway, so I said, okay, let's talk Christian values. Hey, Grok, and I tagged Grok. How many people are set to lose their health insurance from the BBB? And Grok responds, estimates on health insurance losses from the Big Beautiful Bill Act, or OBBBA, vary by source. CBO projects 11.8 to 16.9 million more uninsured by 2034, including 7.5 to 7.8 million from Medicaid cuts and 3.1 to 4.2 million from ACA changes like expiring tax credits. Supporters highlight tax cut benefits, but health groups warn of coverage reductions, and then sources are CBO, KFF, CBPP. I don't know what any of that is, but Grok is being trained on the world's data and information all the time. All these AIs are. So like it's going to get the facts and it's going to get all the spin and it's going to ultimately be the source of truth. And that's just how the AI works. So anyways, there's AI poisoning and AI training, like intentional training and basically fraudulent training. If anyone echo chamber or false claims or something. That's why it's, and AI is even in the community notes. It's bringing up sources. So anyways, so I said, thanks, Grok. Could you tell us how many Americans died on 9/11? And then how many more Americans died during our entire occupation of the Middle East since 9/11? Oh, whoops. No, sorry. Before that, I said, thanks, Grok. And of those, how many are estimated to die from the lack of health care? Estimates vary widely based on, and this is Grok saying it. Estimates vary widely based on studies linking uninsured status to mortality. For OBBA's projected 12 to 17 million more uninsured analyses, whatever, of similar coverage losses, e.g., the ACA repeal attempts, suggest 14,000 to 25,000 additional deaths per year. For example, a 2017 CAP study estimated one excess death per 830 people losing coverage. Sources: the CBO, Harvard, CAP, Yale. Those are kind of some pretty big Ivy League schools there. So, okay. I said, thanks, Grok. Could you tell us how many Americans died on 9/11 and then how many more Americans died during our entire occupation of the Middle East since 9/11? And so Grok responds, on September 11th, 2001, 2,977 people were killed in the attacks, excluding the 19 hijackers. So even with the 19 hijackers, the grand total of the death toll is still less than 3K. I mean, that's still a lot, but still less than 3K. So for some perspective, with the vast majority being Americans, per sources like the 9/11 Commission and FBI. And since then, approximately 7,000 U.S. military personnel have died in post 9/11 wars in the Middle East, primarily in Iraq and Afghanistan, according to the Department of Defense and Costs of War Project as of 2023 data. So I said, thanks, Grok. So if I'm understanding things correctly, the BBB is set to cause more Americans to die than 9/11 and the combined military casualties of our entire occupation since 9/11. And that's every year we surpass that mark. And then, Grok says, your understanding aligns with higher end estimates. Some studies, like Harvard, link one death per 1,000 uninsured, implying 10,000 to 17,000 excess deaths per year from the big, beautiful boat BS, the BBB, and then set 10 to 17 million more uninsured from the CBO. This exceeds 9/11's 2,977 plus post 9/11 military deaths of around, and that's that tilde, approximate 7,000. However, other analyses, e.g., Chronic, find no strong causal link suggesting lower or zero impact. Estimates vary by methodology. And so then I say, wait, oh, hmm. Okay, so now we need to build back to where dude is, because then the trail ends, and I think they censored me. Huh. Well, it faded. Oh, he replied to a different one. Okay, here's the thread still. So then William Hayes, at Bill underscore Hayes underscore. Ah, yes, the hysterical Christian values nonsense. Or no. Well, so that's and then I said, or no. He says, ah, yes, the hysterical Christian values nonsense. Why don't you pay more of your salary to cover the free health care for the millions of illegal aliens that you promise? If you were a good Christian, then you would pay at least 50% of your salary, right? Pay up or shut up. To which I said, you seem to know less about Christian values than the president. It's a 10% tithe for financials. It also doesn't work if one steals from the charity they do, like Donald did. And I posted the source from the AG. I think it's the same lady that prosecuted him and the other thing, but it shows proof that he used money from his charities that he ran. I think for kids with cancer, like I mean, the most like ridiculous thing. But anyways, it was a charity. It was supposed to go to something that he said it was going to something. So he was getting praise for something that he turned around and he used the money to pay like something ridiculous. But for poor people, the expectation is to treat the poor, the foreigner, and the prisoner as Jesus. Instead, Donald withheld housing for non-white people. Then I posted a link about his housing discrimination scandal. Then I said steals from the poor and America. Posted another link where he, um, what is this one? Oh, guilty of criminal tax fraud, or his company was. And then I said, and here, the New York Times talking about Trump engaged in suspect tax schemes as he reaped riches from his father. His father claimed losses on a business that, and then the exact dollar amount transferred to his son. So he basically, there was tax fraud. And like, and I don't know why nothing ever, I don't know what happened to it, but like, yeah. And then I said lusted over children. And there's the Rolling Stones about how Trump ran a Teen USA or Miss Universe organization and Miss Teen USA. So he's hanging out with teenage women and walking into their changing rooms and seeing them naked and all of these things. We have this like investigated back in the day. And I said, and here, and there's the Guardian talking about teen models. Wait, get out of here. Teen models, powerful men, and private dinners when Trump hosted Look of the Year in the early 90s. God dang it, get away. A large private yacht cruised towards the Statue of Liberty. It was a clear, breezy evening, and from the upper deck of the Spirit of New York, a golden sunset could be seen glinting off the Manhattan skyline. Downstairs, a party was in flow. Scores of teenage girls in evening dresses and miniskirts, some as young as 14, danced under disco lights. It could have been a high school prom were it not for the crowd of older men surrounding them. As the evening wore on, some of the men, many old men to be the girls, old enough to be the girls' fathers or even grandfathers, joined them on the dance floor, pressing themselves against the girls. One balding man in a suit wrapped his arm around two young models, leering into a film camera that was documenting the evening. Can you get some beautiful women around me, please? The party aboard the... And so, anyways, like all of this stuff, we have this. I don't even want to read the rest of the article. It's there, like, and he probably didn't read it, but then and here, like talking about like a party yacht with teenagers, dancing, drugs, cocaine, alcohol, like all this crud. Yeah, Letitia James, that's her name, the AG of New York. So, and then this one, he's done so much to offend Jesus that yeah, here's Planet Princeton. Trump's actions go against biblical teaching, and it's like a pretty well, it's a decent one. It's got love for enemies, non-retaliation, truthfulness, treatment of immigrants and refugees, humility and servant leadership, love for, or yeah, wealth and generosity, adultery and marriage, respect for authorities and peacemakers, avoiding division and discord, love your neighbor, honoring women, justice for the poor and oppressed, serve as a role model. Those are all the things. Uh, can I not? Well, anyways, I can't copy the text, but so then he comes back. NPR and New York Times are fake news. Only brainwashed Bolshevik clowns believe that Marxist, anti-American, leftist propaganda. See right there, he just used like three or four words to try to alienate me from Americans. You're not an American. You're this and blah blah blah. You're my enemy. Bogus. So it's also why don't you answer my very simple all caps, very simple question? Why don't you pay all caps more to cover all the free stuff you want illegals to get? Pay up or shut up. And I said, you know, there was another chap that tried to tell the world that the journalists reporting on him were fake news. Educational institutions that taught history and world events were fake news, all to escape accountability for taking shortcuts to try and oppress and even exterminate a race. What was his name, though? Dot, dot, dot. It's skipping my mind at the moment. We're talking about Hitler, by the way. And I said, the court cases are public record. You're just a lazy shill with no spine. I actually pay my taxes unlike the wealthy elite, and I support public policy that helps the poor rather than make excuses to why people deserve more money than most will ever make in a lifetime. How's that boot taste, coward? And then he's like, why don't you pay more? Answer the question, libtard. There are millions of illegal aliens that need food, housing, healthcare, daycare, college education, etc. You promised them it would be free. You need to start paying for it. Why? Dot don't dot you dot pay dot your dot fair dot share. Question mark, exclamation mark, question mark. I say, you know, George Floyd and Charlie Kirk share a birthday. One will be remembered for being a, oh, and actually, I'm not going to read all this. I'm just going to post the link. Um, Here we go. Gotta like my own stuff. Bringing this to my wall. It has everything I think we need to start a new continental Congress. It is past time we go back to what the founding fathers intended, what they said time and time again to try and prevent this mockery of a government we have become, of a country we have become. Hashtag MAGA. Hashtag Juntos Somos Más Fuertes. NWO. Illuminati. Naughty. Yeah. All right, and I also want to let's repost. We'll share, copy link. We'll mail it to myself. Actually, no, here we go. We'll put it on my in memoriam playlist. Edit. XApp. 2.0. There we go. Now it's on the description of this playlist. All right, actually, yeah, I gotta get to work. So, I was doing this because I wanted to fix up the shovel so I can continue to harvest snow. This is probably good, actually. Well, we'll do a couple. Oh, whoops. So basically, and then back to Max and like paying tribute and stuff is like, their voices aren't here anymore. So like, and these are strong, prominent members of my community, or even just members of my community. Like, I mean, and Charlie was like, even though he was a little pervy, like, and Trump's a little pervy, we could just agree to do that. And like, I mean, if he just like made some changes, fixed some things, like he's still getting out of jail that like, poor people have to do a lot worse things than, that. But, oh, actually, wait, I do want to read the last of that. That was the whole point of that. And then I started back at the whole beginning. So let's actually go back. Where it went is, so then it's, actually, no, it's easier this way. Jeez. There we go. Oh, okay. So let's just read these last few. There's a series of unfortunate. I'm explaining poverty and the revolving door of the justice system and all that. And then he's like, "What should the penalty for crime be?" And I said, "Public apology and reparations only to any victims. The unalienable rights should be non-profit. That's where we went wrong. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We've alienated them from the poor by charging excessive amounts for healthcare, law, and all that." And then he's like, "What if the victim is no longer alive?" I said, "Then the victim's people, family, friends, community, like how we transfer dead anyway." And then he's like, "So no matter how many people someone murders and how gruesome it is, you don't put them in prison? I wouldn't want to live in that society. I would have to be heavily armed 24/7 and never lose sight of my wife or kids, like ever." Oh no. The family gets to murder the murderer. Complete justice from the victims. That's it. Oh no, the family gets to murder the murderer. Complete justice from the victims. There you go. Yeah. That's going to be a showstopper right there. People are going to be like, "Wait, what?" But yeah, tit for tat. An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind, but a few instances of it make sure that it doesn't happen again. If we have these lessons and these penalties, people won't do stuff. If you kill somebody, they'll just kill you back. Problem solved. You don't get to kill another person. You have screwed up so bad that you have done that and brought that upon yourself. Like, that should be fair. We should bring stoning back. Although not stoning, because that's like too violent, too long. And just a gunshot to the head. So, and that's it. Boom. And it might be uncomfortable for the first few that go through, but you know what's more uncomfortable? People running around and shooting up schools. So if a kid thinks, oh, and they already do that anyways, they usually unalive themselves at the end of the spree, but like a lot of times I feel like even that is because they don't feel like justice was done somewhere else. Like they usually have a manifesto of like, how their perspective has them feeling that the world is unfair. And it's not even just their perspective. Like, I hate that. I had someone the other day try to tell me, "I'm sorry you feel that way," when apologizing for something that he very well did and there was evidence of. And I was like, no, don't try to, and that's gaslighting. That's where you're like, making someone feel like, oh, they should, stupid poor me, like, or stupid me, I should have known better. Like, I'm sorry that you did something wrong to me. Like, no, get out of here. Oh, whoops. I really need to be doing this one. So, anyways, it's very blunt. That's some high stakes, and nobody's going to be committing crimes at that rate. Because that's the way that religious people live. Like they don't kill people because they think that God is constantly watching and being like, "You better not do it. You better not do it. Oh, I'm going to do such bad things to you when you're dead." And then like, yeah, okay, but what if you don't believe that? What if what if there is nothing after this life? How do we make it to where people can't just get away with stuff like that in this life? And eye for an eye justice. So, like it's a pretty simple concept. Like if you kill somebody, they get to kill you, or their family gets to kill you back. That'll end violence real quick. So, and it already happens in war. Like what are we talking about? We had the Civil War. I mean, like we should know better than anyone that that was called like the Brothers' War, if I'm not mistaken. I'm a little rusty on my history, but you know, like that's American history, and it should be known that we killed each other for a long time. That was the biggest Crips West first, and now we have gangs too. Like, our country is war on itself, war on other countries, war everywhere. We got war for you, war for you. Everybody gets a war. Like, it's just insanity. So, yeah, it's very blunt and simple. And if somebody preys on the innocent, then guess what? That used to be how it happened. You'd have to go to prison. Someone would prey on your booty hole. So, it's teaching lessons. And that's why I do like some of the stuff that gangs do, because they do like justice. Like they make sure that things don't go unanswered, you know. And we should fess up for them. And even as I say that, I got a couple big ones that I need to fess up to. I'm not going to confess here on like the public world, but I will make it right through that Make It Right project. And I got a couple in mind. So little things, debts and everything, and transgressions and trespasses and shortcuts and things done against me that I've forgiven, but I haven't forgot. And so, and what are we going to do about it? Well, yeah. And actually, I know we didn't do any building on the houses, and I gotta go shower up and then go do some work. I got a lot of stuff I got to get done. I've got tons of support tickets. And we had a holiday week pretty much all week last week. I took a couple days off to just do gaming stuff. So also I need to get that. All right, let's do that last thing, and then we'll sign off. But this is in respect to those that are no longer around to have a voice. Like, my people died. A lot of my people died, and that's an understatement for natives. Like, whew, yeah, their whole culture was being invaded and conquered and colonized. Like, how does that feel? Like, that doesn't sit right with a lot of people. That gal Stephanie that passed away, who I need to make her house too, and I'm kicking myself because it's been taking me that long just to make her house. She was another one of the more recent ones. Found out through Facebook, but we had like kind of like a love thing going on. Not love, like fooling around. We were dating. I had a lot of love for her, but I was like worried about saying like in love with somebody. But yeah, no, I loved her as like a romantic interest and also a friend and a colleague. Like she was awesome too. Like that's the one I showed her tag on my stream last night. She was gangster and so hot, and she posed for Penthouse. Like, but even beside all of that, she did this really hot shoot with Ruby Knox. In fact, her name was Annette Allen. Yeah, there it is. Annette Allen and Ruby Knox in Penthouse. Oh my gosh, she was hot. Like, and it didn't even matter if she was hot or not. Like, she was gangster as fuck, or as fun. Uh, sorry, I'm trying not to swear because my PlayStation blocked me from uploading one because I don't even think I swore in that one, or maybe it slipped out. But then like I had a hard time like trying to do the video edit thing. So to like bleep it out, I'm fine being censored. Like, I mean, I don't, well, first off, I don't want kids like seeing this stuff, but it is Minecraft, so you gotta kind of be careful. But then like a lot of the stuff that I say, it's just community guidelines stuff, like, learning the law of the land and how people interact with each other, society, social norms, social cues, wealth, inequality of wealth, all of these things, and online voting. So I wonder what he's going to say to that. Because he thinks that I'm soft on crime. Like, I just want people to run around and be able to commit crime as much as they want. Oh no. I would have liked to get the flowers and that, but that's okay. I got the important stuff, like the coral. So, anyways, like I said, I gotta go get showered up and get to work. So, ta-ta for now. Gonna be at this memorial tonight, actually. I got a lot of stuff today, but I will do some adding to this tonight. Uh, so much work to do. I've been burning out at this company. I love it though. Like, I mean, and one of the former IT guy, I went and had lunch with him not too long ago, and he told me he's like, that place sucks your soul, but it is such an awesome place to work. And if you can find some people to just kind of hang with and hold on to each other, and it's fair. And a lot of companies are like that since COVID. But I'll stick with it though because I love the company so much and higher education. So I'll overlook my one coworker that I just don't get along with it. We can agree to disagree. We're going to keep it professional. Like no more. I tried to overexert some friendship and I shouldn't have. That's fine. We can treat each other with respect and dignity, but make sure that the other one's still doing stuff. And that's the problem. Is like, yeah. Well, we'll talk about the problem on maybe private channels. Nah, I can't do that. I gotta say what I would say to his face on these things. So, and I've already said all these other things to his face. In fact, that's why I'm gonna change the visibility of those Call of Duty videos because I did say a lot of the stuff that he did. I didn't say his name. It's not like the Shack of Shame, and even the Shack of Shame, I said my landlord and Bill Boontz. I'm using a fake name for the dude that got away with predator crimes. Got a slap on the wrist, and like I know people in prison for decades for doing a lot less than what he did, and he ruined a and maybe more. That's the problem. Is I think there's more, and I think he tried to mess with my favorite one of my favorite people in my own community. So that ain't gonna stand, and I don't care. And I let her know too. I let her know that I was talking to the police about the victim in my assault case from 2009. I'm just kidding. That in a way is doxing because I don't seal my records, and that's condemning for myself because yeah. But anyways, people already know, and the people that matter, the Colorado leadership, know. And they care, but they don't. And they're going to care about the bigger picture, I'll bet you. And if I got to take a hit, whatever. They're not going to execute me over what I did. But I just suggested to this guy on a White House post in front of the world, well, maybe the family should just be able to execute the murderer if we can prove without a doubt that the murderer murdered someone in their family. Like exact justice, Wild West justice. So, yeah. All right, well, ta-ta for now. I'll see you in the next one.